Welcome to another edition of Strive Dialogues. We have two very eminent speakers with us, General Harsh Kakkar and Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh. Today we will be discussing the current situation in Pakistan, which is on the boil for some time for different reasons, but since yesterday, it is for a different reason. Yesterday, when former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan was reporting in the High Court in a different case, suddenly the glasses were broken and he was going for his biometrics. And that is the time Pakistan Rangers, they barged into the hall, got hold of Imran Khan and took him under protective custody, and they have taken him. Now, as a consequence, since yesterday, there had been a massive amount of protest. And protest included not only damage to the property, demonstrations, but lo and behold, the worst was that attack on governor's house, say intrusion into the GHQ at Rawalpindi, the attack on the Corps Commander's house in Corps Commander's house in Lahore, the Frontier Force headquarters in Peshawar. Today, furthermore, evidence appeared that some shops which were selling arms shops, so whole lot of AK-47 were stolen from there. And just after that, some pictures appeared on the screen where people were showing weapons. Now, some of the questions which emerged from this kind of a status, that was it a spontaneous response? And if it was a spontaneous response, how could it be so well coordinated that the entire Pakistan went into flames in the next half an hour or so? The second important questions which emerged was that when army establishment were attacked, there was no response or a very weak response. Does it show that Pakistan is a divided house? The Pakistan army is a divided house? Third thing, which is imperative in this, that since the time that famous floods took place, the economy is going downhill. There are lines for atta, there are lines for food grains. Even Ramzan went very badly for them. Still, though relief. Prime Minister was outside, and massive cases of corruptions are being leveled against the current government. One thing which is emerging very clearly, that the people in Pakistan do not appear to be convinced about the credibility of the current dispensation. Now, in this, what would be the role of Pak Army? Now, the second question which I raised, it entails a very interesting part of it. That no response from Pak Army, does it mean that Pakistan army is a divided house? Or was it an engineered effort by Pakistan Army to create a situation where they can go for martial law? A glimpse of that came today when the security situation, the Pakistan police in state of Punjab, Pakistani Punjab, they asked army for the support. Similar situation, unconfirmed reports are saying in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is also happening, this kind of a thing. But the bottom line remains that Pakistan is on the boil today. So the two eminent speakers with us will give their perspective on the whole thing. And the first question which I have for General Kakkar, that does it show that Pakistan is at the brink of collapse? Is the ulti ginti has started for Pakistan for this kind of a state to emerge? May I have your views, General Kakkar?
Thank you, sir. Firstly, let's look at it this way, that the arrest was expected. Zaman Park ka jo incident hua tha, in which the Rangers tried to arrest him. But because of the supporters who were present, that did not succeed. And they were pushed back. That emboldened Imran. And his recent launch of accusations against senior army officers, accusing them of assassination attempts and the works, leading to a rejoinder by the ISPR, sent a message, nahi, he cannot be left free anymore, usko to, he has to be dealt with. Between Zaman Pak or Abhi, he's gone to the court kafi baar. But in neither case, never has there been any attempt to arrest. The intention was giving a message, we have no plans now, which brought in laxity. And this laxity in his security, if you look at the photograph when he was sitting for his biometric, he was absolutely calm and he wasn't expecting anything. This laxity had set in. And that is when the ranger struck, which implied it was planned, it was rehearsed, it was coordinated. And it was so evident that Shehbaz Sharif, who was sitting in London, was scheduled to return, extended his stay by a day, so that whatever the fallout, he is not there and it is handled. Now, the fallout, jo aap keh rahe ho, sir, ki it couldn't have been all simultaneous. It was pent up anger. It was a feeling that the leader whom people had looked upon as the second coming, as a man who would rid Pakistan of all its problems, is now behind bars. And Imran had been feeding an anti-army sentiment and belief in the people. That overflew. If you look historically across the globe, whenever there is an agitation, the target is government institutions, public property. Here, the target was only the army setups. The army was not expecting. Had it been expecting it, it would have increased its security at the cantonment gates. It would have increased security at its major institutions. After all, a corps commander's residence is no ordinary house. Especially in Pakistan, when the corps commander is equivalent to an army commander in India. It is no ordinary house. It is amongst the most protected in that cantonment. But the fact is that it happened, and it happened out of the blue, indicated that it was unplanned, uncoordinated, and absolute just anger of the public was what was flowing out. Now, this is continued with the bargain that what they were showing were people looting. You were picking up pieces from there, you were picking up what you could get your hands on, whether it was a uniform, whether it was cherries, even a peacock. Whatever you could get your hands on was being taken from the house. So it was indicating only public anger flowing across. And the protests that took off because social media had not been clamped down yesterday. And the media reports that were being circulated was Imran has been tortured, Imran has been hurt, and he has been taken in a very, he's been injured and things like that. So that added to the anger of people. Now, what is the future? There is currently in the PTI, there is no leader of Imran status. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who could possibly have been someone who could incite the population, is also being arrested today. Now with the bargain that if the violence is not coordinated, not direct, not moved in a particular angle, what you're going to get is a few days of violence and then dying. If it has to be Pakistan's Arab Spring, if it has to bring about a change within the Pak environment, if it has to make the army subservient to the polity, then this violence, this action has to be coordinated and moved in a direction, but for which currently there is no leader available. Latest inputs from Pakistan as of about an hour or two ago is that people have moved from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa with weapons to Islamabad. Now that again is going to add to violence, add to retaliation, But again, it is going to be an uncoordinated action. What you want is someone to emerge to coordinate the action so that Pakistan is moved towards a changed environment where it becomes a genuine democracy with the political authority leading and the army subservient to the political authority. If this is not pushed, in a few days, the army will regain control. This matter in 6 months will be forgotten. Imran will stay behind bars, and the end result is Pakistan will be where it is.
Harsh, what you have said has raised few questions. And one interesting question which is coming to my mind is that Pakistan is a nuclear state. With this kind of a state of anarchy, the assets which are so vital for not only for Pakistan, but for a whole lot of people around and the world. How the world is going to view it? Will world allow Pakistan to go the way the Sudan has gone? Will Pakistan be allowed to go that 50 years back when Bangladesh happened, some similar situation will it happen? The government's credibility as at this moment is quite low, and nobody cares for the government. And the reflection is that whatever may be the reason, that Shehbaz Sharif is conspicuous by his absence on the scene. That is one part of it. Second, let me just rephrase the second question also, which you will be. I agree that pent-up anger is on account of many things that the state of economy, state of availability of stuff, the comparison, and all that which is there. But how is it going to impact this kind of a breakdown of law and order as against India? That is my question.
Okay, so as far as the first one is concerned, the world has so far told Pakistan, please stick to the rule of law. Just recently, in fact, Rishi Sunak from UK in the parliament, British parliament, stated that the arrest of Imran Khan is an internal matter of Pakistan. The US Secretary of State has also made a comment. The fact is that the world is watching, and in case the situation gets out of hand, they would not mind martial law being imposed. After all, nuclear assets have to be protected. That is possibly one of the reasons why the army is so far staying out. It's been called in Punjab, but it is not the one that has opened fire yet. It is still in the background, and in all probability, it is guarding its own institutions and ensuring that they stay secure. Now, the second part where you mentioned, where you were talking about the way Pakistan, whether something will happen, sir. As far as we are concerned, yes. At the moment, there are reports that India is monitoring it. There are reports that we are on extra alert because, after all, one of the options or one of the scenarios where complete Pakistan unites is at the mention of India. So in case Pakistan, the Pak army wants to switch pressure from internal and get the people back into one unison, then the option is to look for something in J&K or to activate the LOC. But we also have to remember, sir, this is a double-edged sword. Pakistan today militarily does not have the capability. Its reserves of oil and other things are fairly low. So if it decides to do something and it suffers a setback, as it suffered in Kargil or Bangladesh, or even recently at the hands of the Balakot strike, the army will never recover. So this is possibly the last final option in case there is nothing else left, but which is something which the world will ensure that Pakistan does not risk anything. After all, that is something which will break the state once and for all. So in all probability, sir, the next 2-3 days, whether this is going to get into an organized sort of a movement, or is it going to stay haphazard the way it is now, with people looking to loot and gather what they can, what they've not been able to get, and display their anger against a force which has dominated them for 75 years is something we need to watch. I think I would state today, sir, let's wait for 2-3 days.
Two questions are still in my mind. And one is that you said that nuclear assets we discussed, but the kind of state of leadership which is there in the Pakistan at the moment, in Imran's absence, and Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who was probably the second, say on a scale of 10, if Imran was 10, he is 2 or something, the rest all are minus. He is also interned. Now, they don't have any leadership. The government, Shehbaz Sharif, his credibility is low and presently is not even in the Pakistan. How safe the nuclear assets are? That is question one. And who will save them? No, second question. Second question. Okay.
Sir, the fact is that the nuclear assets are under control of the army. The civil government has nothing to do with nuclear assets. The forces earmarked for their security are vastly different on a similar line like we've got. Now, the Chief of General Staff officially, otherwise the army chief is responsible for them. There is no way that these are going to fall into any hands, but that is something that the Pak army will ensure. They've got to survive. China will ensure. Because for China, the survival of the Pak army is more important than the survival of the government. It is the Pak army that is ensuring the security of the CPEC and Chinese nationals. So they are going to ensure that these assets remain secure because they are the first ones to come under threat. So they're going to ensure that the Pak army retains its power. And if push comes to shove, then yes, things can get out of hand with the Pak army getting directly involved in curbing the violence, which it is not doing as of now.
One last bit I wanted to know, what happens when this kind of state of anarchy exists somewhere? There's no leadership to control it. Police, I don't know who is actually giving the instructions and all in Shehbaz's absence. Bilawal Bhutto does not appear to be having the capability and all those things. There may be a possibility that a lot of people, the normal people, normal Pakistanis, they may try to come into India as refugees. Will it not be a problem for India?
So that is something which is why the forces are on a watch, that you're not going to let anything of that happen. Currently, it is the Interior Minister who's handling the situation. Shehbaz, I think, should have landed by now because the inputs that came in was he had already taken off from London. So he should have landed by now.
But knowing Pakistan, he may have landed Dubai or something.
But the fact is that the entire control currently rests in Rawalpindi.
Yes.
In fact, even before whatever was took place as far as Imran is concerned, there were discussions between Rawalpindi and the Interior Minister. There were discussions with Shehbaz. So everyone was aware of what is going to happen. So in all this, the control currently is with Rawalpindi, which is maintaining a distance, not pushing in the army in direct contact with the rioters, because there are rumors that the army may also be compromised, but that is unlikely. It doesn't appear so. Rumors will keep floating, and the intent of Imran has always been to break the army sort of unity. But whether he'll succeed or not is something Dushant will cover. But the fact is that there is, that is his intent, but they're the ones who are calling the shots.
Very, very nicely explained the whole situation, which is fast evolving. And actually, we haven't seen the, as you said very rightly, that next 2-3 days would be, next 48 hours or 72 hours would be crucial for situation from this maze of information and the flames which are all around to emerge at what exactly is going to be, how things are going to pan out. And Dushant, what the discussion in the ensuing discussion, what has emerged very important is essentially the centrality of Pak Army. That Rawalpindi, number of times Harsh has mentioned that Rawalpindi, the role of Rawalpindi. Imran during his tenure has made all attempts to kind of denigrate Pak army, and no Pak chief, army chief, has ever liked that. So Qamar Javed Bajwa and now General Asim also is not going to take it very, very kindly with this kind of a thing. But the fact remains that is Pakistan army monolithic as on date? That's a very important question, that unless there is a gap between, because what appears that yesterday what happened, I'm sure GHQ was taken on board for that kind of a thing. And just to show to the world, that's not army which is acting against Imran, it is the police which is acting, and that's how rangers were used. And in Zaman Bagh incident earlier, they went with less force and they didn't want to use the force, and then it happened. But yesterday they were determined. So it had imprint of Pak army. But is lower rank and file is with them, or it is going to be a La Sri Lanka situation where when Gotabaya had to flee from the country, that army was not with them at all.
First of all, sir, as you said, and as General Kakkad has also been saying, the centrality of stability of Pakistan depends on the Pakistan army. As far as Pakistan Army's monolithic character is concerned, मेरा जो ये मानना है कि इमरान खान ने इसमें काफी दरार डाली थी, और उस दरार के चलते उन्होंने काफी कमर बाजवा और उनके जो सपोर्टर्स हैं उनके बीच में काफी रिफ्ट भी फैलाई थी, लेकिन उस रिफ्ट को किसी न किसी तरह से मैनेज कर दिया गया था कमर बाजवा द्वारा। और इस समय असीम मुनीर जो जिस तरह से फॉलो कर रहे हैं जिस तरह से अपनी आर्मी को लीड कर रहे हैं, वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हालांकि वो एक कट्टर विरोधी हैं, he is an opponent of Imran Khan, but he doesn't want to be seen as going hell for leather for Imran Khan. So इसलिए he is covering his moves in a manner where he looks like a very partial general, so that he can carry the Pakistan army in a monolithic manner all behind him. आपको याद होगा कि 3 सक्सेसफुल कूज हुए, लेकिन 7-8 अनसक्सेसफुल कूज भी पाकिस्तान में हुए। वो तब होते हैं जब
brigadier was charged with treason and hanged to death.
There are 7 unsuccessful coups in the past also. मेरा कहने का मतलब है कि पाकिस्तान आर्मी में इस तरह की चीजें चलती रहती हैं, लेकिन वो सक्सेसफुल तभी होती हैं अगर कोई सीनियर लीडरशिप में आपस में डिवाइड आ जाती है। Corps commanders are all well on board as far as Pakistan Army chief is concerned. The rift is only between the CGS and the Pakistan Army. The CGS wants to be the Pakistan Army chief. So that is where there is some amount of rift, but he is not in a power position to actually influence the Pakistan Army. I'll tell you why Pakistan Army has actually coordinated this movement. I'm giving you a reverse of everything, sir. There are reports coming that the people dressed in the Rangers dress were actually the SSG. That is point number 1. Point number 2, ISI is also behind this with certain indicators which have come जो दिखा रहे हैं कि ये ISI की ही नॉलेज में पूरी तरह से ये चीजें हुई हैं। तीसरी चीज, जहां भी आर्मी के एस्टेब्लिशमेंट्स में अटैक का ये जो दृश्य दिखाया गया है, where videos have been shown, and can you imagine even in a normal time frame कोर कमांडर के घर में गार्ड होता है? There were no guards on the gate.
Yes.
One chap loitering. There was one chap.
Even GHQ picture.
Correct. Even GHQ. That means they were expecting some amount of reaction to come from, as General Kakkad said, pent up anger was going to come onto the army, because it is Imran Khan supporters believe that the army is behind whatever is happening to Imran Khan. So army had prepared itself. The second thing is what General Kakkad said was that probably this would then be taken as some kind of a reason for the Pakistan army to step in, stabilize the situation, and then take the country forward. I think this is a more likely plan where Pakistan army ने अपना एक plan बना लिया है इस समय कि हम जो अपोजिशन है इमरान खान की, उसको दबाने का एक ही तरीका है कि उसके करिज्मेटिक लीडर को किसी तरह से बंद किया जाए। आपने देखा होगा दुनिया में जहां भी करिज्मेटिक लीडर रहे हो, चाहे वो पेरू हो, चाहे वो
रिसेंटली बोल्सोनारो,
चाहे कर्डिस्तान हो, जब भी आपने करिज्मेटिक लीडर को बंद कर दिया है, बदनाम कर दिया है, एलिमिनेट कर दिया है, आपको 4 से 5 महीने का टाइम मिल जाता है. You get 4 or 5 months time to recoup, recollect, or reorganize the security of that country and then move forward. I think the plan is something like that, where Pakistan Army is moving to a plan, and this will also ensure that nuclear security of the nuclear assets. And जहां तक मुझे लगता है इसमें China and America or the West are on board. They are on board because it is easier to control an autocratic or a military ruled government than a public servant ruled government. और इस समय वैसे भी पब्लिक पाकिस्तानी पॉलिटिक्स में ऐसा कोई लीडर है ही नहीं. इवन शहबाज शरीफ में कोई करिज्मेटिक वो है ही
no leadership.
He is worse than a bureaucrat in terms of his personal impressions.
In fact,
So,
his overstay in London is only to get some kind of a guidance from Nawaz.
correct. If you look at Mariam is serving as number 2 now. Earlier she was external affairs foreign minister. She was external affairs minister. Now she is deputy. What I'm trying to say is that the leaders in Pakistan as of now, and Bilawal Bhutto को तो लोग Bilawal Rani भी बोलते हैं. So that is the situation of leadership of Pakistan today. Shah Mahmood Qureshi was trying to play the double game. आप कल उनका statement देखिए.
Yes.
इमरान खान ने बोला जिहाद करना है. And it was a pre-recorded video which he had put forward on the.
He was earlier in PPP.
Yes.
Shah Mahmood Qureshi was in PPP.
Shah Mahmood Qureshi was saying कि हम democratically, peacefully demonstration करेंगे, violence नहीं use करेंगे. He was probably trying to bridge the gap, but possibly the army just to show that he is not seen overtly toward them, they has been also arrested. My point is, मेरा जो मानना ये लग रहा है कि army is in control. It is moving behind the scene and trying to get the situation under control.
Two questions.
Pakistan, yeah.
Two questions. Quick questions.
Yes. Yes, sir.
That is, one is that is Pak Army and Pak government of the day, they are on the same page or they are also on different page?
Currently, sir.
Yeah. And second question is that how Afghan-Pakistan relations or TTP is going to act on this kind of a thing?
Sir, as the first question first, as far as the government of Pakistan, the civilian government of Pakistan and the army are concerned, Pakistani civilian government has no option. It really has no option. In fact, if you see, the Pakistani civilian government had actually moved a case to inject the to tell the Supreme Court that you cannot intervene in executive matters. That is the clear indication that Pakistan civilian government and the army are on one page. One. The second thing is, if there is any dispute which is happening now, it is between the judiciary and the Pakistan army and the civil government. It is the judiciary which is now actually showing some kind of determination to bring democracy, bring rule of law, etc. Into the Pakistani polity. But that's not going to happen because judiciary can only pronounce.
Supreme Court Chief Justice, who is Imran's protege, still gave him 8 days of.
And he can only pronounce. The judiciary can only pronounce. Okay, judiciary can only pronounce. As far as PTI and the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan is concerned, that is a problem. That is a problem which I am sure the Pakistan army is capable of handling it. The only problem which I have seen based on my interaction with the army officers जो पाकिस्तान के हैं, वो हमेशा ये बोलते रहे हैं मुझसे कि जब हम अपने लोगों के सामने खड़े होते हैं तो हमको गोली चलाना मुश्किल लगता है. And it has been said on record in front of me, and that would have been that you would realize in 2007-8 they had surrendered en masse in front of the
Thank you, Dushyant, and thank you, Harsh, for a very, very exciting and stimulating discussion. We will continue this kind of a discussion subsequently also. So, viewers, what I wish to say, flag few issues which have emerged. That, as Jan Kakkar said, that situation is fast changing, and next 72 hours or 48 hours would be quite crucial. That is one part of it. And second thing is, as General Dushyant very rightly said, the government of Pakistan and army, they are on the same page. And this script for the present situation is generally being appeared to be written by the Pak army itself. India, as far as India is concerned, we have to be careful. We have to ensure that our borders are secure. China will ensure that nuclear assets are not damaged. And last but not the least, Pakistan still has a problem on its western front, that is Durand Line, where dispute is far from resolved, and TTP has its own rule. Thank you for listening to us, and Jai Hind.